Welcome to Art's Place, conservative talk from a different view, from the Casablanca studio in Golden, Colorado. Hosted by Art Carlson. At 4'6", liberals fear him, and conservatives love him. He's definitely a giant among men. Now here's your host, Art Carlson.
Yeah, welcome to another episode of Art's Place, conservative talk from a different view. We got a great show today. Lloyd and we're going to be talking about the Flynn pardon. Yes, that's right. General Flynn is Trump's NSA officer was pardoned. So we'll talk about that. Should be a great show. And we'll talk about all the other political stuff that's going on around the country. So let's welcome to the stage, the show, Lloyd Mendenhall, my co-host. Welcome, Lloyd. Hey. Good to see you. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was quiet. We did a COVID Thanksgiving. My youngest son, his wife's a nurse, so they can't be around us. My oldest son, the police officer, he's around all this stuff all the time. So what happened, and Judy wanted a lowland boil, so, which is, shrimp, sausage, corn on the cob, and with Cajun seasoning boiled down, and then you drain the water and then throw it out on the table. Well, we didn't do that. My son cooked it next door. He put it in a bucket and brought it over to us. They stayed in one room. We visited them with them for about 30 minutes in the other, and then after they left, I went and fixed our dinner. So
awesome.
It was good. Got a couple days. The shrimp, you don't want to keep them an extra day, but the sausage and the corn on the cob, there was enough for that, and it was really good. And so
that's your shrimp for catfish bait.
Yeah, I could have done that, but man, it's just too much work to go catfishing. If I want catfish, I'll go down to Charlie's Chicken and pick up some already cooked.
There you go.
I don't have to get cold and get.
Yeah. My Thanksgiving was nice. Went over to my sisters and my niece and her first husband, who's going to be her third husband someday, and her son, Bryce, was there. So we had about, 5 people, and the food was awesome. We had the traditional turkey and mashed potatoes, gravy, cranberry sauce, rolls, green bean casserole, and what else? Oh, we had sweet potato casserole as well. I'm not a big fan of sweet potato casserole, but green bean, love that. Oh, and stuffing. So can't forget the stuffing.
Yeah, we'll probably do something like that towards Christmas. For Christmas.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, excuse me. We talked about Christmas. I think what we're going to do is, unless things drastically change in the next 30 days or so, less than 30 days now, we're just going to, what I'm going to do is box up the packages. If I make some pies and stuff like that, I'll put them in a box, and then I'll just drive around and play Santa Claus, drop stuff off to the kids and the grandkids that are here in town, pick up what they might have for us, and then come back over, and then we'll get on
there you go.
Facebook Live or something and do something like that.
Get a little catapult on the back of your truck. Just
fling it out there.
Just fling it right onto their porch.
Yeah. By the way, all right, music was playing and everything was working perfect on your show today.
There you go. Before we get going here, let's take care of business here. Let's say hello to our audience here. We've got Ray Kelly. Captain Ray is here he's down in Florida right now, so he's in a nice warm place, which is cool. Michael Blade and Mike Roach is here, and who else? There's some other
Michael
people
B, Mike
that
B.
are here that are in aren't in the chat. So
Right. Yeah, you got Mike B, the Drone Ranger, Mike
yep.
Roche, Mike Blade.
Oh, Mike B. Yep.
Yeah.
We got all the mics here.
Got all the mics in one ray. 3 mics in one
Yep.
ray.
Mm-hmm. Now we just need to wait for Rick and probably Mitchell. Mitch is probably watching, and
Yeah.
hopefully Mel will pop in and watch
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
rest of the show. So, oh, and Brad Pear is here, one of my Facebook friends.
Oh, okay.
Nice guy. So we got a good crowd tonight. All right, so let's jump into it. So we just had some recent news, and at least in the last few days, Donald Trump, or President Trump, has pardoned his NSA officer secretary. Michael Flynn was pardoned, which is a good thing because that guy, he got railroaded.
Yeah.
He,
Well, from what I understand, they weren't even going to, I don't know who's been dragging their feet, but wasn't he already, hey, Rodney Bell, uh, didn't they already say the evidence wasn't proper and all that? And they were just waiting on the DA
there
to
was,
drop the charges?
yeah,
Or,
that's
no, the
right.
judge, the judge
The
decided on
judge.
his own to, oh, I'll have my investigator do it. Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he originally was going to plead guilty,
Yeah.
but then the I guess Department of Justice they dropped the case. So but
So the
this
judge
judge,
decided
who's
to.
an Obama appointee,
Yes.
decided
Yeah.
he didn't want to let it go. He was going to, pretty much railroad this guy. He got railroaded by the FBI, and then he gets railroaded by this crooked Obama appointed judge.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
rather
Well,
than waiting around until after the transition, Trump decided, well, let's pardon the guy and take
there was
care
a
of
couple
that.
of things that a lot of people don't. Of course, he was retired. He was retired military,
Yep.
and when he originally pled guilty in the initial part of it to a felony, he lost his military pension.
Oh,
He was
that's right.
Yeah, he lost all that, which caused he didn't have an income now. He lost his house, and he went through a whole crap load of stuff and the
Hmm.
only reason he pled guilty is because they said they were going after his son. And it
Yeah,
turns
that's
out
right.
none of that stuff they had was any good. But
Hmm.
there's Rick Alper in the chat too.
Hey, Rick.
But so in order to get this, so then the prosecutor said we're not going to pursue it. This is a bad. The Justice Department said no, and then but as long as that judge kept that hanging over him, he couldn't
Hmm.
get his pension back.
Right.
So now with the pardon, he can he'll be able to get his military pension back.
Oh, he
Which
will. Oh, good, good, good.
yeah, because he withdrew the guilty plea, and when they said that they weren't going to prosecute, well, that still left it hanging. So by
Right.
giving him a full pardon, he should be able to get his pension back. Now, that's been one of the contentions of it, of the whole thing is that's why it hurt him so bad. And that that liberal communist judge,
Hmm.
that's the same judge I think who was probably working back at the French Revolution, in the guillotine trials,
Yeah. Hmm.
because
He's
he would have fit
probably
in perfect there.
Yeah. Oh, and then there's that crooked DA in New York that was going after Trump for his taxes,
Yeah, yeah,
and somehow the New York Times got a hold of Trump's taxes, which is illegal, by the
illegal.
way.
Yes,
and they fought. They published it anyway. So
Yeah.
that's why I think there needs to be a revamp of the slander, libel, and slander uh, uh, lawsuits.
Laws. We've, this has been it's been what my gripe's been for the last 4 weeks now. 3 weeks. God, has it only been 3 weeks since the election? It feels like it's been a year.
Yeah.
And we haven't even made it to the inauguration of this knothead that they're calling a president-elect. But anyways, we got to, that's the problem. We've got to start getting, at a ground level, we've got to get these elections under control. And, we've got to start demanding that our judges judge and not legislate. That's something we need to really, we as a people, I don't mean just conservatives. I think the liberals have every right to gripe too, because, the liberals bring it on themselves, but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
If we're not careful in the next 4 years and we don't get somebody up there that's as strong as Donald Trump or strong, I guarantee you there's not a president or a person that was running before Donald Trump that would have stood there and took as much crap as he did
Right.
in these last 4 years. I can't think of any of the other candidates that ran against him in 2016 that could have taken what he did. They would have kowtowed and hunkered down and
Yep.
maybe
It's like
Ted
George
Cruz-
W. Bush, he just
Yeah, well-
didn't, he thought it was beneath the office or the party to, push back on the media. Even though they're spreading all these lies, he wasn't going to, sink to their level. But Donald Trump, the reason they hate him so much is because he's exposing them in his tweets. And sometimes he likes to embellish things just to kind of poke the bear. And that just gets him even more ticked off.
Yeah,
and
that's it. A lot of the stuff he's doing is just he's baiting them. Okay, come after me.
It exposes them for what they truly are.
Exactly.
Communists and Marxists.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's we've got to do something about these. I don't know what the next 4 years is going to be like. But
it all depends on the control of the Senate and the House.
That's going to be a big one, and
keep an eye on those elections in January for senator down there in Georgia.
Down in Georgia.
Have you seen that one candidate, that Democrat candidate? He's another Reverend Wright. He is a
I've heard.
loony.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm really frustrated with the president-elect when he's saying people should load up and move to Georgia so they can get that seat. That's
that's election tampering.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. It's election tampering. And talk about something being beneath the presidency. That's something that should be, of course, as long as we got the senile old fart in office, we'll be okay. If we get Kamala in there, we're all screwed, because she'll pick Bernie for her VP or some other socialist or one of the mob or whatever they call themselves.
Well, probably it won't be from the House because otherwise they'll take someone that's out of a seat and they'll shrink their majority even further.
Which they barely,
depending on what state, the state legislature, if it's a Republican legislature, they
Yeah.
could appoint a Republican to fill that seat.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
hmm yeah, so, uh, yeah, and there's still lawsuits going, and someone sent me a really interesting video that really kind of opened my eyes to what's going on here. And basically, what it comes down to is the integrity of this election, and whether that there's wide enough spread of fraud in the election. Will it really change the numbers much? I don't know. I don't think so. But here's the deal. It's enough to disenfranchise enough people to where they're going to think, well, was that a fair election? Was that an honest election?
Well, we haven't had a fair and honest election. Whether there's enough to get him in office or not, I don't know. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing some things that say that, this is what I've been griping about. That's what I started on my rampage on 3 weeks ago after the election was the integrity of the election. We have zero. We haven't. The Democrats didn't trust the last one. I mean, at least
Yeah,
thank
they
God we're
thought
not.
Trump stole the election.
Yeah, and at least we're not all out there marching with vagina hats on.
Yeah.
We have a little more class than that. But
Mm-hmm.
it's Steve Mack says he doesn't care
Yeah.
what the polls say. He doesn't think Kanye West is going to win. Yeah,
Kanye West.
Kanye. Well, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't listen to his
Mm-hmm.
crap anyways. He's an idiot. But
Mm-hmm.
anyways, my opinion. That is the opinion of the Grumpy Vlogger, not the opinion of this channel. But
Thank you.
I agree. There's certain things out there that I think I've been arguing for at least the last 2 weeks. I had my people looking into it, and all those dead people that voted for Biden, that's fraud. They
Yeah.
were. I know good and well. I had flowers put on all their graves so they'd vote for
Mm-hmm.
me, and so I know those votes. Those dead people that voted, they did not vote for Joe Biden. They voted for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing we need to look into. Is why did all those dead people vote for Biden instead of me?
That's right. And
But
also in this video, they showed a clip from a Veritas video where they went in undercover, and they showed a Denver election official uh, boasting that he would work hard to cheat, lie, and steal this election. And that's how today's liberals feel. They really
yeah,
view Donald Trump and the Republican Party like the Nazis back in the 20s and 30s. They really think that they're morally superior to where they have to do whatever it takes to make sure Republicans and Donald Trump never get in office.
well,
And
yeah,
that's really sad. And it
it
really
is.
started after the Clinton administration. Well, yeah, it really started way back then. And with the MoveOn.org and all that
Right.
crap
But
going on.
you look at a little bit of history. Let's go back to Let's go back to pre-World War II. Okay, the Nazis were coming to a rise. You had a lot of governments that were, there was a lot of people siding with the Nazis in England. There was a
Mm-hmm.
good few of them here too.
Mm-hmm.
But when push come to shove and Franklin Roosevelt came to office, a Democrat, a New Deal Democrat, you know, uh, he brought in the idea that, of course, fighting Nazism. Of course, Nazism was a nasty thing. It was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But he sided with the communists rather than come up with something a little better. Well, we'll deal with the communists after the war. He didn't see what it was like. He didn't have to deal with the communists because he was dead.
Mm-hmm.
Not that he planned to die, but the point is, you get in bed with a shaggy dog like the communists, you're going to get some fleas on you. And the
Mm-hmm.
Democrats have had fleas on. So along comes, Eisenhower after that. And then you get McCarthy in the Senate. And now suddenly we realize the problem with communism and socialism. And the Democrats, they're trying to pay us back for the McCarthy era.
Mm-hmm.
And but I look at the Democratic Party's direct involvement with the communist was during World War II, in which they were our allies.
Mm-hmm.
And the Democrats, well, at least Roosevelt helped perpetrate that and bring that about. So
Mm-hmm.
just
Well,
it's just gotten worse.
that's true, and I agree with where you're going. But World War II was uh, well, it was an interesting. More than interesting. It's like picking who are your enemies and
Right. Yeah.
who's your allies. We had
Yeah,
to go with the
we had no
Soviet Union.
choice.
Yeah, that's right,
We
because
had no choice.
that that way you had two forces on either side
Yeah.
to push into the middle and that was the only way to defeat the Nazis, because if the Nazis have defeated the Soviet Union, they
Oh
would
yeah,
have had all that free resource, and they would
yes.
have been unstoppable after that. And
Yeah,
plus, with
yeah.
Japan as their ally, so we were
Oh, I
for.
I agree 100%. We had to, because they were an unstoppable wall. The Soviet Union was,
Mm-hmm.
and that left us with you know, we only had to focus on the one front, because Soviet Union was so vast compared to Germany
Mm,
that
yep.
you know it. They were almost well. That was the same problem they had in some ways they had during World War One. Was going up
Mm,
against the Russians then. So
mm-hmm.
it's. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have sided with the Soviet Union. We had no choice.
Mm,
It just is. But there's where they started really getting their hooks into the Democrats. You know. Anyway,
mm-hmm.
like I said, that was a that was kind of a far reach on that one, but it was just a thought that I got. Can't go all the. I want to go back further than Clinton, because you know, uh, and you can go back. I mean, like in England, their Labor Party
Mm-hmm.
is a socialist. They're unions.
Mm-hmm.
And they're part of the socialist. The Labor Party in Europe, and the Labor parties in Europe, and our Democrat Party, socialist. Or Marxist.
Well, they also had the Fabian Society, which was a very socialist society. They were actually siding with the Nazis for a while, until they decided that, oh, the Soviet Union is much better. I mean,
Yeah,
look at what happened in Spain. They had a
yeah,
lot of help from the Nazis to defeat the communists, and
right,
they were not only going after communists, but the royalists as well. So they had
right,
two enemies to deal with,
yeah, yeah,
and that's how Franco came into power. But he was in a position where he was able to uh, kind of keep Hitler at bay. But unbeknownst to Adolf Hitler, you had Canaris, who was, not really a Nazi ideologue. He was kind of thwarting Hitler to try to form an alliance with Spain, because Hitler really wanted Gibraltar. If he would have gotten a hold of Gibraltar, that would have been game over. The Mediterranean would have been closed off to any allies going there. And
yeah,
then they would have
yeah.
had all of North Africa
North Africa. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then the Italians was still held on to Ethiopia and their colony down there.
Yeah. I was just reading
That's
what.
right, Mike. Fabians are the progressives. Yep, that's
Yeah.
true. Hmm.
Yeah. It's amazing how long we've been dealing with this, and what's sad is there's so many people that are just discovering this kind of stuff. You know, I mean, they're like, where did this?
Well,
Thought I heard.
socialism goes back 150 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Marx, I mean, he
Yeah.
wrote his book in the 1840s.
I
And
know.
it wasn't
Yeah.
until the end of the 19th century that socialism, communism were starting to take root, and that was part of the collapse of the monarch empires of
Right.
Europe.
Yeah.
It ended the Habsburg Empire and the German Empire and the Russian Empire.
Well, when you look at it, once the grandma of Europe died, Queen Victoria,
Yep.
all the things that tied those countries together. Once she was gone, that's when
Yeah.
the
That's when it
at the end
started
of the
to unravel. Yeah.
right at the end of the Victorian era and coming into the Edwardian era. Edwardian? No, the Georgian
Yeah,
was
Edwardian was before
Edwardian
that.
followed Victorian, right? Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah,
uh,
King Edward's. Yeah,
Edward the Seventh. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Once he didn't have of course he was of that next generation that was doing all the fighting between everybody.
Hmm.
Uh, you had the Tsar, you had the Habsburgs, you had all of these different. They were cousins. They were
Yeah,
all
they were
cousins,
all
or
related.
yeah, they were all
Yep.
related, and this was just a family feud that was.
Hmm.
But
That's true.
Queen
That's true.
Victoria kept it in check, you know,
Hmm.
uh,
That
to a
that's
point. But
right.
once she
And
died,
yeah, King or Wilhelm of Germany, he had he was had animosity against England because he really thought that they were responsible for his birth defect. Did you know that he was born with a partially paralyzed right arm?
no, I didn't. I hadn't.
Yeah,
That's somebody I
because
haven't followed before. I need to go back and
because
read of it.
he was his mother was about to give birth, and they said no, 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 you gotta hold on till I guess uh, one of the royals showed up, and they think that, and it was a difficult birth, and he had a deformed right arm that was partially paralyzed and shorter than the other.
Okay.
But
Yeah, yeah, and like you said, it's all they all had all those cousins. Well, my mother was treated badly because of this,
hmm.
or I'm like this because of the way you treated, and they all had their problems.
Hmm.
Uh, that's why, you know, uh, they didn't help out Tsar Nicholas in Alexandria
Yep.
because
Hmm.
they didn't, well, this is just this. We don't want to mess with it. It's funny is the grandmother of all Europe didn't want to get involved, and yet she was keeping them in check to a point. But once she died,
Hmm.
it was Katie bar the door because
Yep. And she
they
was
all
the
collapsed.
longest reigning royal in Europe, and it looks like Elizabeth II is fast approaching that reign
Yeah,
because oh, I think Victoria was queen from I think the late 1840s up until
yeah,
1904.
yeah. 1904. I couldn't remember if she made it to the. I thought she made it to early 1900s or early 20th
Yeah.
century. I couldn't remember. But,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the collapse of the empire when she died
Mm-hmm.
because, they lost India. They lost, uh, they,
Oh yeah, India and Africa and
Africa, the Middle
yeah,
East,
Middle East. Well, actually, the
Palestine.
Middle East was a product of World War One after the collapse
Yeah,
of the Ottoman Empire. That's
right.
where the French and the
And the
and the British and a little bit of the Russians. The Russians, they wanted part of Turkey, but they ended up getting nothing. But yeah, England, they got Egypt, and France and England, they carved up the Middle East. I think France got Syria and Lebanon,
right.
and England got Iraq and
And they got
Jordan and
Palestine.
Palestine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It was Palestine until 1947. So
Yep. Yep.
yeah, but again, yeah, you're right because that was the Ottoman Turks that
Hmm.
had,
They
because
were
they're the
part
ones
of
that,
the Central Powers,
yeah,
which
that's
was
right.
the Austria-Hungary, Germany, and the Ottoman Empire.
Right, yeah.
Hmm.
There's the Ottomans that really did the number down in Gallipoli to the Australians.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's true. And
yeah,
when I was following that channel, the Great War, boy, they really talked about that battle, and that was the big black eye for Winston Churchill because I think he was Lord of the Admiralty back then.
yeah, he was, and
Hmm.
I know the Australians haven't forgotten.
Yeah, or
It's
the
been,
Kiwis. Yeah.
you know,
Hmm. Yeah, that's a national holiday. Is
it
Anzac
is,
Day.
it is Anzac Day, and they're, we're talking what, probably 5 generations at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least 4 generations, maybe five that from that battle, and they still go out. Although this year it wasn't, it was different because of COVID, but and that
Yeah, that's.
actually ticked a lot of people off. But there's uh see, I'm just 2 generations removed from that time period
Uh-huh.
because of my grandfather. But then I'm old too, so uh yeah, Rodney's trying to liven up the chat. He wrote vote Biden.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it got quiet. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Rodney,
Well,
bite me.
yeah, let's. I'm on a different.
Bite me.
Did the sound come through on that?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. Got everything working again. I think I've got it. I want to do a
And
test
that
after the
concludes our history
history section of the
class.
show. Now, where were we?
Mhm.
You said it didn't seem to work. Really?
Ah. So, any other events surrounding the election? Have you heard anything else? I haven't been following much this week because the
Right.
regular conservative show that I listen to, he decided to take the week off and do family stuff, and his replacement, it just sounded like a ladies show where they talked about,
Right.
okay, how do you want to react with relatives over, how to cook turkey, how to get ready. And I'm like, this isn't what I came to listen to. But he'll be back on Monday, and I'll be able
Yeah.
to hear
I
my
haven't.
regulars.
I'll be honest with you. You know what I've been doing this week? I started watching uh the Marvel Cinematic Universe, not in the phase one, two, three, four, the Avengers and all those stuff. I started watching them in what they consider their timeline. And
Oh,
so,
okay.
which, some movies came out after came out before others, but they're out of sequence of when they came out.
Oh,
But when you follow them through the timeline, it's really interesting. It kind of
oh,
that's what I've been doing. So
uh,
that taking naps, and there was
leave
my
me alone.
Friday adventure. Uh,
Mm.
I don't know if you.
Oh,
I'm sure some of you
oh
guys
yeah, you
follow
were a little
Greg.
bit late coming in the Greg's
I never
show on.
made it. I never made it. I was
Oh,
only in the chat, and that was only for a
oh,
little
that's
bit.
right.
I was broke
Oh yeah,
down.
Chris filled in for it.
Did he?
Yeah,
Okay.
Chris Hunt came in. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. See, I haven't watched the
Yeah, he
rest of the show.
came into my show last night, and yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Well, I know that. Uh, yeah. John had to leave Greg's show on Friday,
right.
and I wasn't there. I was still broke down on the side of
Right.
the road. Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
it's a long story, and I've done a week worth of videos about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, I'll my videos going up tonight at midnight. Tomorrow for everybody else, but for tonight it'll be for Rick Albert will see it when it goes live. But yeah, it explains the adventure that we took. We went. We were gone for over 4 hours and went absolutely nowhere.
Oh boy.
Oh, anyway, so that's what I did
Well,
Friday.
I've been binge watching Discovery, Star Trek Discovery, and
Oh, okay.
this third season I really like
Do you?
because they go into the future,
Oh, okay. That
which is really interesting. So I'm liking what they're doing with the show because Discovery predates. Well, it comes out just before the Enterprise. Now we're doing Star Trek stuff.
yeah,
Huh?
yeah, yeah.
So you do see Captain Pike and the Enterprise for a brief period, but to give you the gist of the show is Discovery, other than using warp drive, they use what's called a spore drive, where they're able to move around the galaxy in a blink of an eye.
Really?
Yep, they have
Well,
a guy that could. Uh, I guess what he does is he's hooked up to the spores. He sits in a chair, a type of. Well, anyway,
right.
so he's able to navigate the Discovery through the galaxy in a blink of an eye. But
Now, is this
what happened
new?
was, uh, well, you'll have to watch it. It's really hard to explain.
I'm just
Uh,
wondering, is this a why are they not using? Why didn't they not follow through with this onto the Enterprise? Because if this predates the
oh, well,
Enterprise,
they discovered something about the spore drive, and then there was
ah,
something that came up, and they said, we gotta split. We gotta go into the future. And what they did is they erased everything about the discovery in the Starfleet database. That's why when they got to the future, they said, "Hey, we have no record of a ship named Discovery."
ah,
Yeah,
okay, yeah,
which is
yeah.
very interesting. So, uh,
Mike B just brought up uh, I'm checking a little bit of the chat because we're all over the
right.
place today. So
Let's get back
yeah,
to
well,
important stuff.
a little bit. No, I'm as guilty as you are. I'm probably more guilty. I'm always taking it off the rails.
Yeah,
I
we'll
just
try to make crack and hookers look. Well, you know what? Here in Colorado, I think what's going to happen is they're going to bring back safe injection sites. I think that's inevitable because Portland, they made heroin, crack, and meth Oh, and psychedelic mushrooms. They're legal there now.
Well, I'll say this. Uh, anybody, Portland is lost. If they do that, that's fine. I have a daughter who was addicted to meth or is addicted to meth, and a granddaughter, and you know,
Right.
her 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 and her kids are all, the two boys are in prison because of it, and her daughter, my granddaughter, is clean now and has been but she went through some. It's been a couple of years now, cleaners. Maybe she's coming up, I think about
Right.
a year and a half. But my daughter, she did it for so long that even if she doesn't do meth anymore, her mind is out there,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, it really messes you
amongst the
up
stars.
upstate.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
messes them up. It destroys brain cells so bad, and it is so addictive. I've seen people that just, I've heard of people or seen people I know just tried it once or twice, and then all of a sudden they're on it
Oh,
all
they
over
gotta
again.
have it.
Got to have it. You know,
Yep.
you can't. Having lived with drug addicts in the family, especially with a daughter, and gone through all those years of dealing with drug addiction with her, trying to help her, trying to help her get help, and all of
Yeah.
that. You can't say that I will not, I will never agree with the comment that marijuana is not a gate. You know, they say, well, marijuana is not a gateway drug. Yes, it is. You know,
Mm.
if you've got the addictive personality, and that's the other problem. Some people
Yeah,
have an
that's
addictive personality, and you go from the pot to, well, let's get a little bit more high. Well, here, let's try this. Next thing you know,
yeah.
they're hooked on meth, or they're hooked on cocaine, or they're, heroin, and it all leads to, it's like, I'm a recovering uh alcoholic. I started out drinking 3.2 beer, you know.
Mm.
Next thing I know, I'm in the service and I'm drinking a quart of Jack Daniels every day. If I don't have I don't have half a quart by 10 o'clock in the morning, I've got the shakes. That was while I was in the service. That's not a
Well,
good thing, you know.
yeah. I'm
And
surprised you made it through the service. How long were
I
you in the service?
I was in for 6 years. It didn't get really bad until the last year and a half,
Right.
and I went and got help.
Oh, that's good.
I checked. I went to my commander and says, "I've got a problem here, man. I'm drinking way too much, and I can't, and I love it." And I
Right.
got to the point after going through a lot of counseling for it. I got to the point where I could go down to my favorite bar, and the bartender kept milk on stock just for me. A lot of
Uh
people thought I was drinking a Black Russian, but all I was drinking was chocolate milk.
huh.
And he kept
Yep.
it, because I was a good patron. I was paying as much for that glass of chocolate milk as I was for a high dollar uh, Black Russian or something, or White
Yep.
Russian, whatever it was. I can't remember. But yeah, but Mike says he's only got 3 brain cells left, and meth would clean him out. Yeah, but dealing with an addiction like that, like I said, I started out drinking. I was 15,
Right.
16 years old and started drinking 3.2 beer. You know,
Wow.
and of course, you know, 3.2 beer. It was legal to drink at 18. When I
Yeah, that's
was,
right. I
you
remember
know,
that. And then
and they
they
raised it
had
to
3-2
21.
clubs
Right? They had
here in
3.2 clubs.
Colorado. Yep.
Yeah, you know. And I didn't. I'm not going to sit there and, like Rick said, the hard part is knowing that you are. That's it. And
Mm-hmm.
even though I got cleaned up in the service, once I got, I what I fell off the wagon, and finally Judy put me back on the wagon in the strongest terms possible. As
Mm-hmm.
I was praying to the goddess of porcelain some 37 years ago, 37 years,
Wow.
maybe 38 years, 37 years in January. I'd gone to New Year's Eve, made a total butthead of myself, and I'm been over the goddess of porcelain. She says, as soon as the courts open up, I'm going to go down and file. As soon as after the holidays, I'm going to go down and file for divorce. I'm not putting up with a drunk. I didn't marry one, and I'm not going to put up with it, you know. And I thought, all right, this is my third time at this marriage thing. I don't think that's a good idea. I think I'm going to go ahead and and I quit, and I haven't, you know, I haven't
Right.
been drunk, and I haven't even been tipsy in
Right.
37 years.
Good.
You know,
Good. Yep.
I have, and not every night, but most nights we have about this much, and just a little bit more than a shot of wine. You know,
Ah.
and
Okay.
that's for bedtime, and
Okay.
that's that's. And some nights I don't even have that, but I'll have it with Judy, and that's what we'll have at night. And, to finish off the night, and
Huh.
that's all we have. And but I know enough. I know enough now how what my triggers were back then and what. But yeah, so when they say marijuana is not a gateway drug, well, that's like saying 3-2 beer wasn't a gateway booze.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got the addictive personality and you don't learn to control those
Mm-hmm.
urges,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to, and by them legalizing meth and stuff, well, maybe
Yeah.
Portland will finally, maybe everybody up there will will finally be so brain dead they won't be able to figure out how to run a crooked election anymore, and you can get some decent people in there.
There you go. There you go. And in the comedy business, I mean, you're around alcohol all the time,
Yeah.
and uh, and that was one little piece of the puzzle why I got out. It's just that uh, it, it 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 just grind on me, and I just the main thing was all that driving, and all that downtime. That's what really dragged me down. And yeah, and cigarettes. My sister, she's still smoking. She just turned
Yeah.
70, but now she's on up to, I think she'll do 3 cigarettes a week.
Well, that's good. That's far better than the alternative. Yeah. I hear you, Rick. Yeah. Man, we're both coughing and hacking. Mine is, uh, well,
Your
it's
furnace
just the
kicking in?
Yeah, yeah. No, it's all the allergies running around here. Living in
Oh, okay.
Oklahoma, you've got a constant.
Well, and
Uh,
I've got, well, right up there is the vent from my furnace. For
right?
some reason, when I'm doing the show here, that thing kicks in, and I got the coughs. I didn't have it last night, but for some weird reason,
Got it
I
today. Yeah.
coughed during the show.
And the
But
four-eyed
anyway,
canine is in.
getting back to cigarettes, I never saw it as being cool, so I never smoked,
Right,
and and I have compromised lungs. I have lung
right.
ailments, and I figure why screw them up even worse? To shorten my life that much slower. So I did the alcohol, and now I barely drink anymore. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
I just look at it. I go, you know what? I think I'll get a bottle of. Why? Why do I need it? And I
yeah.
feel like crap after. I mean, I'll feel good for a while, and then the next day I'm like a slug. I just don't feel like doing anything. And it's like, mm-hmm.
Rodney, he goes live at 6 o'clock uh,
Central,
Central Time. Six
right?
o'clock Central Time. So
That'd be 5 p.m.
5
Mountain,
5 p.m.
four
Mountain
p.m.
and 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
East. Yeah,
Yeah.
4 p.m. Pacific. Yep.
And I did not realize that. I've been keeping up on the conversation, but I didn't realize Rick was in the hospital again.
Oh, he is. I know he
Yeah.
broke his ankle on Thanksgiving.
Oh, really? Well, that was just
Yeah.
3 days ago.
Yep.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like I said, well, several of the guys are putting up talking about news and stuff. There's been nothing, on the news. Yeah, it's either COVID or the election.
Yep.
And you know,
Oh,
uh,
the latest COVID thing here in Colorado. Right before Thanksgiving, our illustrious Mayor Hancock says, "Stay at home. Don't spread the COVID. Wear your mask. Social distance." And then he gets on an airplane to fly down to Mississippi.
yeah,
And boy, did the people just jump on him about that. Now he's apologized on Channel 9 saying, "I made a mistake." It's like,
yeah,
come
it's
on. Oh, and
yeah,
then
there,
our governor and the first dude, they've got the COVID now.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Your governor is he leans to the left a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Broken ankle and big toe on each leg. Oh my God,
On
what were you
each
trying to
leg?
do?
Yeah, what were you doing?
Broken
Ice
ankle and
skating?
big toe one on each leg. Oh, he broke one big toe and the ankle on big toe on one leg and a ankle on the other. Were you trying to do the tango or something? You're a little long in the
Yeah.
tooth, Rick, to be trying the tango. You shouldn't be doing that. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I'd break a hip.
Oh, and watch out for dressers and the legs of your bed. Oh boy, those are
Oh
deadly
yeah,
on
yeah, yeah,
your
yeah.
toes. I broke a toe on my left foot, the middle toe, because I accidentally hit the dresser,
Oh,
and it turned black and blue, and I go, well, yep, it's broken. There's nothing I can do, so I
yeah,
never went
yeah.
and saw a doctor, and then my left ankle started swelling up,
Right.
and I thought, oh, I better get that looked at because I thought I might have had the gout or something. And they said, no, it's not the gout. It's your uh, your ankle is getting it's got arthritis, and because the ankle is well, when I had surgery when I was really young, they fused my ankle, so that's
Right.
why it's swelling up. And while they X-rayed my foot and they said, "Did you know you broke a toe?" And I go, "Oh yeah, that was a long time ago."
Yeah, Rick. Rodney says that Rick has his own reserved room, and yeah, I'm glad to see Rodney Bell out and about a little more. I have been seeing him more and more, and some of these shows. It's like I hadn't seen him for a while, and it's like
Yeah, that's right.
uh, so.
And Steve Carpenter, I haven't seen in a while.
Well, I just got a notice from him, or it just popped up. Let's see. Okay. Uh, okay, we've educated. I found the problem. My internet was out less than 10 minutes after he left. Apparently, he tweeted that, oh, it's liked by Steve Kopner. Okay. I don't know if his internet's out or not. I don't know. It just popped
Oh
up on
well,
my,
it
yeah.
is California.
It is, yeah.
Oh, and speaking of the devil, there
California.
he is in the chat.
Oh, there's Steve Carpenter. Yeah, okay. I haven't
We
seen
were
him in
talking
about
about you, Steve.
yeah, his ears.
Well,
Yeah.
good to see you.
Hello, Steve.
Yeah,
Glad to see you.
yeah,
You know, it's there really isn't anything uh, uh, on right now in the news other than just
yeah.
doom and gloom.
Hmm.
Sorry, I had one of those squirrel moments there.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
You know, but it's been such a uh, crazy time. I mean, nobody's happy with the election. I don't care who you are.
right,
The integrity of it is completely shot.
yeah,
Uh, it's like, mind you, we were stuck out on the highway for 4 hours Friday,
uh-huh,
but at least we got out of the house and did something. We sat there and I watched a little bit of Oz by Drone, watched a couple other shows,
right,
and uh, waited for the uh, waited for this tow truck tow truck driver. Well, that's hard to say when you got a
Oh,
stutter.
tow truck driver, yeah.
That guy, yeah, waited on him to show up to take care of the situation, and
Would you
it
have a
was
battery issue or?
no, I blew a tire,
Oh,
and I can't get down to get my spare is up. I mean, I actually threw the tread off the tires on the truck, and I was going about 75 miles an hour, and I thought we'd lost Judy's. We were headed down to our cabin. Anyways, I thought
uh-huh.
we'd lost her wheelchair. I looked up, it's still in the back, and I knew I couldn't get down there. Even if I could have got down there to get under there to get the tire off, because on a Ford, on that model Ford F-150, they got it shoved up underneath the frame. So you
Oh,
got to get all
yeah,
the way
that's
down there.
right.
Yeah, it's clear down, and you got to lower it down, and it's like I couldn't do it,
Oh, boy.
and I pay for roadside assistance.
There you go.
It
There you go.
wasn't
Use it.
much assistance, but at least we got it changed. And I'm going to go with a different brand of tires because
Mm-hmm.
the tire brand I've been using is Cooper, and this has happened to me. The tread separates from the belt, you know,
Oh,
and so yeah, it was. We were going down to the cabin. We're just going to go down there and spend 30-40 minutes checking it out, make sure everything's okay, and come back and I had plenty of time to get home in time for Greg's show, and
yeah, yeah.
didn't happen.
No.
Yeah, I go into a
Oh,
little more detail on my videos this week because
oh,
I think I did.
I'll check those.
Oh, I did a really great rant, and I mean I was really going good, and then looked up and realized I forgot to hit the record button.
Mm.
I mean, I was going like, oh man, I got to start over because I didn't hit the record button on my camera. So I lost a perfectly good rant.
No, darn. Don't you
Well,
hate that when that happens?
yeah, it does. Yeah, you're right, Steve. It's fortunately it was a rear tire this time, and
Uh,
uh, they had plenty of tread on them. They looked in good shape. I check them out,
mm-hmm.
and because right now I took the truck because I didn't trust the van because the tranny's slipping and we're going to be pulling those hills. So until I get it in to get it worked on, uh,
Mm-hmm.
it's the truck was safer. But now I will say this, I got to say this for the spare that we have, we've used on and off over the years because we've had flat tires and not, or blew a tire and not been able to. Now this is on a '99 Ford F-150. The original tires were General tires,
Ah,
and my spare is the original spare. It's 21 years old,
oh boy.
and it's in better shape than the new tires. I mean, it's held up better. So I think I'm
Mm,
going to go with that brand. I'm going to look at that,
okay.
go with that size and brand, and that's what I'm going to get because uh,
Sounds great.
because Cooper tires, I don't recommend them, and I've used them
Mm-mm.
for years, but the last 10 or 12 years worth of tires that they've put out have been crap.
Well, Lloyd, let's close this show out. I've got a great joke for you. Heard about
Oh,
this the other night. There was this. You remember back in the day when we had the restaurants where you drive your car up and a girl on roller skates serve you?
right, yeah, car hops.
Well, and this wealthy guy drives in with his Cadillac Eldorado, one of those big boats,
Right, right.
Cadillac. Pulls up there and rolls down the window, and, gal comes up, takes his order, and comes in, gives him his food, and then she comes back and hands him the receipt, how much it would cost. So he gets out his wallet, and he had been out golfing all day. So he's trying to give her the tip. So he pulls out some change and some dollar bills, and says, "What are those?" He goes, "Oh, those are teas." And she goes, "What are those for?" "Those are to hold up my balls while I'm driving."
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh wow.
I think I heard that from Mel. That was just really
That sounds
funny.
like a Mel joke. Yeah. 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 So,
All
well,
right,
we've
well,
covered everything on today's show.
we've done an hour on this show, and I want to thank you very much. It was kind of a slow news week, so we didn't
It,
have a whole lot to talk about.
only two
other
things to
than
talk
the
about on the
park.
news:
Yep. hmm
the election and
So
COVID.
I'm not going to do the timer. Well, so what I'll do is I'll say goodbye to everybody. Mason, thanks for jumping in right at the.
Mel says he's not responsible for that crappy joke. That was a funny joke, Mel. Yeah.
And the four-eye Tim, thank you very much for coming in. The four-eye canine, Steve Carpenter, Mason Kaiser, and yeah, all you guys, thank you for coming in. We'll catch you
Absolutely.
next week. God bless you, and catch you next week. Lloyd, closing arguments or
Well, you know what I always
thoughts?
say? Well, always say be kind to each other, treat each other better than you would treat yourselves. Remember, all lives matter, including the unborn, and God bless and God help the USA.
Take care, everybody. Bye bye.